quite like that song. It's a bit of a ride. Let's turn that down. Hey everybody, Lawrence from financialthing.com. Feeling a little bit disheveled today, but I'm here. The common cold will not keep us down for long. So if I'm a little spluttery, I'm a little coughy, I'm a little bit congested, excuse me. I will try not to cough in your ear, but still alive, and it wasn't, thankfully, the you know what. Yes, it was just a common cold. Did you know, by the way, that the average person gets 2 to 3 common colds a year? So, I mean, this one put me out for about 5 days. I'm thinking, so what? 3 colds, 15 days a year, 16, 17 days a year. It's kind of an inconvenience, but to be honest, I haven't gotten sick in a long time, so I don't know why it happened, but things happen. Anyway, welcome. Glad everybody is here. We will be live streaming, all being well, on Tuesday. Cryptocurrency. We actually have a really, really good live stream. I have a guest coming on, which I'm super excited about for next Tuesday. And Shojin Property Partners, Jatin, I believe is the correct way to pronounce his name, is going to be here on the live stream. I think it may be next Thursday, but I will confirm. So plan on being here next Thursday, if not the 10th, then maybe the 17th. But one of those two dates, Jatin, who is the CEO of Shojin Property Partners, is going to be guesting on the stream, so I'm really excited about that. So subscribe so you get the notifications, hit that bell. Little disheveled, apologies, but trying to get back to it. Anyway, hope everyone is doing well. We're going to be talking some peer-to-peer lending news today, primarily peer-to-peer lending focused. We're going to do a little bit of stock stuff and crypto stuff since we missed it on Tuesday. But we're going to be taking a look at rebuilding society today. Some of the news that's going on. Obviously, things are kind of crazy in the world at the moment. Prayers going out to people of the Ukraine, and you know what else. Don't want to get all political. It's a real shame what's going on over there. A lot of people are going to lose their lives for seamlessly useless reasons, as war tends to do. Another thing we're going to be looking at, I'm going to show you a spreadsheet of my peer-to-peer lending investments from when I started in June 2015, and show you all the places that I invested through and what their fate has been currently, whether they're in administration, whether they're in administration, still operating, paused, closed to retail peer-to-peer lending. So we're going to go through that. If you can hit that thumbs up, that would be great. I got the Grimsby Town shirt on today for energy because I'm feeling lackluster, but I'm trying to keep the energy going for you. So let's get into it. A quick hello to everybody in the UK. Hopefully the weather isn't too bad. Still here in Orlando. It's very hot today. AccuChap is first up in Accrington with a little rain cloud, I think. That could be a rain cloud or birthday candles. I'm not sure what the first one is. Colin is here in the Peak District. Alan Toombs, of course, in Basingstoke. Paul Bagworth in Kenilworth. Paul in a very wet Stockport. Paul says he likes the new music. Likes the music. Good. I'm going to try to find some new tracks for you too. A little intro music so you're not bored. Peter Vince is in Leatherhead. Overcast, still an indoor day. Stephen Hale, Nottingham. Darren Lefko, hello world. It's coming to us from the world. John Day in Nottingham. Brian in Woburn, of course. John Morgan is in Istanbul, Turkey. Very nice. What's it like over there? I've never been to Turkey. Patty, Jeff in France. Boo, hello world. Hi, Invest22 in London. Alan Stratford in Perranporth, Cornwall. Is that the right way to say it? Cornwall. That sounds more Irish. 2 hour special tonight. No, definitely will only be an hour. Well, not definitely. Mike Powell in Sutton, Southampton. Dave Ellard. Yes. Definitely come and join the stream probably next Thursday. I just can't remember when that stream is. My head is all over the place. I think it's next Thursday the 10th, but it could be the 17th. One of those two. Hi, Mark Mason. Paul Ward in Portsmouth. The first emoji was an umbrella. So hi to everybody out there. And to anybody who's watching in the future, hi too. Glad you're here. Sorry about the congestion. Anyway, let us get to the news, see what's going on. This is the... Oops, what did I do? That did not work. Let's try this again. Oh, I definitely did something bad there. Just give me a second here. Technical, of course. Why would I not have technical difficulties, right? The way things are going today. But there we go. We're back. This is the financial... what is going on today? Let's just get to the news. Just coded offices are used as carvage shelter amid a Russian attack. This is... I don't really know why this is on the peer-to-peer finance news website, but I guess because it's a fintech software company. But their offices have been used as a shelter for more than 50 people last week, while the Russian forces have attacked Kharkiv. That's nice that they're allowing that to happen, and they're going to be relocating to the west of the Ukraine. Again, hope everything really works out for the best over there. It's really not looking good. There are going to be some companies within the alternative finance sector that are going to get displaced because of what's going on, and it's very sad, very sad. Connective Lending, good news. They have repaid lenders. They have obviously closed their doors after a very short operational runtime in the peer-to-peer lending sector, which was sad because I heard a lot of good things about Connective Lending and what they were doing over there. But the managing director, Daniel Grimes, has said the peer-to-peer pawnbroking platform has repaid all lender capital and interest after leaving the sector due to regulation making the business uneconomical. I mean, it's always a win when everybody gets paid back. Hopefully everybody has, and that's true. But, some of the failures we've seen, it's always a win. They are in wind down mode at the moment, but all of the loans have been refinanced. The platform has repaid lenders all of their capital and interest back to their accounts pending withdrawal. Connective Lending will continue to operate with private funding, which begs the question, if you are somebody who wants to continue lending through Connective, maybe that's something you can do directly with them. I would imagine that, I don't know what would happen to their regulations. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I would imagine they would become non-FCA funded or regulated for at least peer-to-peer lending. So there's always a risk, if you go directly to a private company lending, that you're not really protected if they aren't regulated. So that is something you want to consider. But it's possible if you are a big Connective Lending fan, you could get in touch with them and see if that's something you could do. Finance Kitchen to launch hospitality-focused peer-to-peer lender. Specialist finance broker Finance Kitchen, who I did try to find on the interwebs and could not. I don't know if anybody has a link to their website. I wanted to take a look at them. But they are going to launch their own lending book to fund loans for the hospitality sector, which will include block discounting and partly peer-to-peer investing. So possibly this is going to be a new company that launches designed to fund, I think, seems like maybe restaurants and build-outs and things like that. Says they're not regulated by the FCA, but will obviously become regulated before launch. I wonder if they know how difficult it is to get FCA regulated now. I think that restaurant financing is an inherently risky business to get into, because imagine if you were in that pre-COVID and then COVID hit. Obviously, we've seen very strange things happens over the last couple of years to certain sectors that we thought would always be okay. And the vid has shown us, just how certain sectors, hospitality, hotels, travel operators, how they can become in very difficult times during a very strange black swan event like COVID. So, but maybe restaurants are coming back and maybe it's going to be a booming sector in the future, but it's something that we'll keep an eye on. Finance Kitchen. Rebuilding Society focuses on repayments during a really slow month. It said in February, Rebuilding Society received £60,965 in capital and interest repayments, but did not conduct any lending or offer new loans to investors. I've always been really hard on Rebuilding Society. I did lend through them very early on in my peer-to-peer lending days, I think in maybe 2016. And the CEO and I have always had a bit of a back and forth discussion about, he thinks I'm very hard on Rebuilding Society, and I say, well, I can only report on my personal experiences, is what I do, and my personal experiences were not really great. This is the thing about lending too, you can have a very different experience to someone else if they just pick different loans that you do, and they might have great returns. You might have really poo-poo ones, which is what kind of happened to me. I was also very inexperienced about lending to businesses at that time, so I was just kind of throwing darts at the dartboard, didn't really know what I was doing. But what I wanted to do is go into Rebuilding Society and just kind of look at what was going on the platform. This is my dormant amount of cash that has stuck in bad loans for a while. I don't think I've been invested through Rebuilding Society for years. So this is my net worth currently of a massive £32 and 7p. I think there is some 4 non-performing loans here that an average rate of 16.93%. What great interest that I will never get. So, but what's concerning about that news story is when you see a platform not offering any new loans whatsoever. It seems, I don't know if they're retooling or what is going on with Rebuilding Society, but it seems very dormant and very quiet, which is always something you got to pay attention to. If we look at the secondary market, there's just a little bit on there. You try to zoom in here so you can see £30 here, £1,300, £220 of a 12.14% loan. So there is a few bits and pieces on here, but it seems quite dormant. And if you go to the marketplace of new lending, there was a loan, I don't know when this finished, but £89,760 loan, 5 years, 15.94%. They seem to have funded, but we don't know when that funded. I don't know if there's a date. Oh, you can see here the auction deadline, November the 15th of 2021. So does that mean that Rebuilding Society has not written any new loans since November 2021? Because if that does, it's pretty red flaggy to me. That's what are we talking, 3-4 months with no lending on there, no new lending. What's going on with Rebuilding Society? I wonder if I can get what is his name? I can't remember his name, the CEO. I wonder if I could get him to come on the stream, talk to me about what's going on at Rebuilding Society. But things you got to pay attention to if you're lending through companies, these peer-to-peer lending companies, and things seem dormant. You do have to pay attention to that, and you might want to adjust accordingly, or at least call the company and find out what is going on, what are their plans, are there some changes coming up, is there anything in the background that might be something of concern for you. I mean, if you have your money inside of these peer-to-peer lending platforms, you want to be careful. You got to protect your kids, your little assets, your little pound soldiers. So we'll see. I have heard some good things about Rebuilding Society. I know people who are readers of the blog who've had great returns, but from the outside, it's looking a little rocky. I don't know anything. I'm not saying the company's in trouble or anything like that. I'm just presenting the information that I see myself. So, FCA blocks a quarter of firms from consumer investments market. The city watchdog is taking action to tackle harm in the consumer investments market after revealing that it had stopped a quarter of firms from entering into it. So the FCA is seeing a lot of scams out there. Things like cryptocurrency companies that are probably not legitimate, and other financial companies that probably are not legitimate too. So they're really trying to clamp down. Over the last 6 months, the regulator FCA has opened more than 300 cases relating to possible crypto asset businesses not registered with the FCA, many of which may be scams. It has 50 live investigations, including criminal probes into unauthorized businesses. They want consumers to be invest smart and scam smart. One thing I love about the UK is they come up with cool words for things, like the pension pot and invest smart, scam smart. I love it. People should be scam smart. I want to show you a couple of scams. If you are interested in cryptocurrency, you will going to see some things that I'm going to show you right here. One live scam that is on YouTube right now. Let's see if I can zoom in. I don't know if I can on YouTube. So this is, if you look in the sidebar here, you're going to see some of these live. I don't know if you can see right here, this Elon Musk and Cathie Wood from ARK Investing. There's some, and says 6.3 thousand people watching. Vitalik Buterin from Ethereum live, 11,000 people watching. Now, these are scams. They're live streams that are really not live streams. No, sorry. They're live streams with their scams that there's nobody really watching it. They'll somehow have figured out a way to make it look like there's 11,000 people watching, but actually you can see now it only says one watching. The stream probably got banned. But there's a little ad here, and I'll show you another one. You can see here, it says if you send 1 Ethereum, you will get 2 back. If you send 10 Ethereum, you'll get 20 back. And they give you a website to go to, and it looks like Cathie Wood and Elon Musk here, and it looks all legitimate. It's all fake. And they want you to get, they want you to send cryptocurrency to them, and your crypto will disappear. So here's another one right here. Oh, no. That's not that one. This is the Vitalik Buterin, who is one of the founders of Ethereum. You can see 9,248 people watching. These streams tend to get banned and taken down after a few minutes, but they're popping up all over the place. So, do be careful. There is nothing in this world for free. So you're not going to get free crypto. If you send 1 Ethereum, you're definitely not going to get 1 back. You're going to get 0 back. You'll lose your cryptocurrency. Yeah. So be careful. And the FCA is good and right to be taking on boiler room scams, crypto asset scams, recovery room scams. 16,400 inquiries they've had about possible scams. Crazy. Mentos exchanges rubles. I thought it was RUBL. Now it's ROUBL. I don't know why it's spelled differently. Mentos is exchanging rubles to euros for investors. Mentos investors who had available funds in the Russian ruble are now receiving partial ruble amounts exchanged into euros because they say one of the banks which services ruble funds for Mentos decided to liquidate its entire ruble position and have exchanged all rubles to euros. Obviously, the reason they've done this is because the ruble is devaluing. Every day it's becoming weaker, so companies that are into currency exchange, currency exchange, want to get out of the ruble into what they consider safer fiat assets like the euro or the pound or the dollars. Problem for people that have invested their money in rubles now, they have to get euros back, which actually might not be a bad thing for them. It could save them from possible devaluation in the future. I received this Lend Invest update for anybody that's a Lend Invest investor or you are considering it. They have a stat sheet that they put out. It's usually supposed to be every month. This kind of shows you what's going on the platform for the month of January. Number of investments posted, there was 4 new loans. Average investment amount, £362,000, 6.06%. Average return offered, an average loan to value of 68%. That gives you this geographical breakdown of where these properties were located. London, Southwest, and Scotland. So I do like these fact sheets. Also shows you the status of current live investments. See 5% here in enforcement. So that means that these are loans that are in default. And 0 in arrears, 14% out of term. That means the underlying loan has not been paid on schedule and there's been an unauthorized extension, or the loan terms have been breached. So these could be heading for default. So if you added the 5 to the 14%, that would be quite a high total of 19%. And then 81% is on schedule. Typical returns for Lend Invest, 4 to 5.7%. If you have a diversified portfolio and this happened to reach 19% in the default range, wouldn't really kill you. The problem is if you try to target individual loans and try to get too much money into one single loan and it goes into default, that is where you get hurt. This is a house crowd investor update. As you know, this is a company that's in administration. And I got to tell you, the more I read these investor updates, the more I realize what an absolute cock up of a mess this house crowd situation is. So what they do is they have a Q&A with the administrator and then people who are investors through the house crowd. So you can ask your questions. They have a meeting every once in a while, and then they post the questions. That's pretty interesting to see. There was one question that was concerning. Let me find it. Here we go. Question number 3. See if I can zoom in a little bit more for you. Just as you reported for HCF number 76, that is one of the developments, you reported you were considering if there was a case of negligence by the valuers. A similar situation stands for HCF 131. The land was valued at $1.5 million, sold for about $400,000. That reeks of foul play. I lost 45% of my investment. Is there an update on this? Does it take 9 months for your expert to decide if there was negligence? There's cases of negligence with the valuations rampant in peer-to-peer lending companies that are in administration because a lot of these valuations are overly optimistic. Some of the risk surveyors should definitely be held accountable for that. But it says, we have been unable to identify any evidence of clear negligence from the house crowd's records by the valuer. Security for the loan compromised with 2 development sites. At the time the loan was provided, both sites had planning permission in place. At the time the receivers were appointed, the planning consent on one of the sites had been allowed to lapse, which accounts for the drop in value of the land. So just goes to highlight one of the many, many problems of administration is these administrators cannot keep on top of something like this, because if you have a company that's in administration with 10, 15, 20 developments, and some of them are still continuing to be developed, to sell to try to get as much back for investors. But there's no possible way that some things are not going to be missed. This is a perfect example of where planning permission was lapsed on one of the development sites, and you would see that value drop hugely. There's one other question in here which was really, really concerning. This one right here, number 8. HCP 141 was previously sold for £75,000 and then purchased by FF 3 months later for 145 grand. Is this being investigated? This is one of many properties that show questionable activities. You are now taking substantial fees, that's the administrator, for dealing with the house crowd properties, so you can't deflect this question away. Now, who is FF? Well, that would be the founder, Fraser Fernhead. So if this is true, and these allegations are true, and a property was sold for 75 grand and then repurchased by him 3 months later, would you say there is some fraudulent stuff going on in the background? You would have to think so. Quantama, the administrator, said this is a potentially very troubling point that has been raised, and we will be grateful to explore this individual's concerns offline in more detail. It's, reading these reports is just really sad. It makes me kind of sick to my stomach because there always seems to be some untoward things going on in the background that, with a lot of digging would come out. But most people, are not going to dig like some of these investors have. They just kind of put their blinders on, hope they get some of their money back and continue as is. But it's really sad. Not happy to read things like that. I personally don't think that many of the house crowd funds will be returned. I think there'll be certain developments that are able to be sold. In fact, I think there's one they mentioned in here that would be returned for actual profit, but that is very, very rare. I mean, since there's so many developments that are behind and having problems, you just don't expect you're really going to get much back on that one. So here's a spreadsheet. This is a breakdown of all the peer-to-peer companies that I invested through beginning on June 2015. And it's really interesting to see what their fate has been. So you can see the very first one here, Rate Setter, closed peer-to-peer fund. And I think this is about as close as I can recall. I have some notes of when I started investing through these companies, and I think this is pretty accurate to the timeline of when I began in 2015. So Rate Setter to Funding Secure Administration, Property Partner, which is actually still operating. How healthily, I don't know. Things are not looking really great over there. I think Property Partner, some of the share values just seem to have really tanked, so that one's not looking really great. Land Bay closed its peer-to-peer, repaid everybody. That was a good result. Assets Capital still going. Then it was on to Funding Circle, whose peer-to-peer lending is obviously paused at the moment. You cannot invest in new loans. Then Collateral and the dirty savings stream Lendy, those two, administration. Then Property Moose. They closed to peer-to-peer lending and moved into a like an investment fund where they put all their properties into a fund. That has been kind of just stuck. I mean, their plan is to sell off all of the properties and repay back everybody if they can. So that's currently going through, but they have a pretty big portfolio. I think it was originally 115 properties. So first they tried to refinance it. That didn't work. So then they decided the best thing to do was just sell everything off. So currently have funds just tied up in there. That's been a good, 3-4 years of just waiting. Then we got Money Thing into administration. Growth Street closed its doors to peer-to-peer, paid people back. That was a good result. Unbelted, LendInvest still going. LendInvest obviously not strictly peer-to-peer, but they're on the list. Then we got Wellesley & Co. in administration. Bondora operating still in Europe. Bond Mason closed peer-to-peer, paid people back. Rebuilding Society operating. Mentos closed its doors to UK peer-to-peer lending. Lending Works closed to peer-to-peer, paying people back, hopefully. Lending Crowd peer-to-peer paused. Zopa closed its doors to retail peer-to-peer. Able Rate still going. Octopus Choice closed its doors, paid everybody back. And then we got the oh god, no, this one is the house crowd was definitely administration. Don't know why I've got that one. I think that's they're probably higher up on the list. That one is a mistake. Loan Pad and Crowd Property still operating. I gotta make this red because they don't deserve a green. You gotta go red. But if we zoom out, take a look at the different color patterns. By the way, I went a little bit crazy with lending. You know, obviously some of that was to do with the blog, and I wanted to test out these properties. But if you look at where we are, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 26 still going. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 26 in administration. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. About 8 that closed their doors. And then a couple that paused. So a really, really mixed bag of successes and failures in the peer-to-peer lending sector. As you can see, that's a lot of companies to invest through. I went through 26 different companies. It was hard, to manage all of that, especially with the ones that had manual lending, which is why I either got out of them or switched them to auto invest. It was just too much to take on. It really did become kind of an obsessive part-time job managing that. I don't recommend if you're lending out there to do anything like that. Just maybe pick 3 or 4 or 5 good ones, preferably the ones that are operating. Obviously, loan pads, Crowd Property, Kuflink, Assets Capital, still going, Unbolted. But yeah, it became a full-time job or part-time job. It was just too difficult. So, but a really, really mixed bag. If you showed that to a potential investor, they would probably be frightened by all the reds and oranges. More, I think more by the reds than the oranges. But it's a kind of interesting to go back historically and see how that shook out. Let's take a look at the trading 212. Look, we finally went over 16,000. We were at 16.3 a couple of days ago, but oil's taken a bit of a knock today. Barrick Gold doing really well, 14.66%. But generally, the portfolio has been holding its own. I did ditch Alibaba. That turned out to be a crappy trade, so that's gone. Sitting in about 5,200 in cash at the moment. Just kind of looking for an entry point to get back into these oil and energy positions, because I think that's going to hopefully continue to do well, but maybe only in the short term. And then I think people will rotate back into tech stocks because they've taken such a beating. I mean, look at this Palantir, down 54.76%. One of the stocks that I have been looking at is getting back into MGNI, because that has taken such a beat down, back down to 12 US dollars. So that might be one that, maybe at $10 or $9 we end up going back into. See if we want to talk about this. This is a crypto peer-to-peer lender that has hit a $1 million US dollar, 750,000 UK pound milestone of lending. They claim you can earn up to 10% by loaning out your cryptocurrency, and they loan out to other businesses. I was just taking a look at it. There's a lot of things out there in the crypto DeFi space. They've got 1.12 million US, which is, I mean, that's kind of not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. But they connect crypto lenders with small and medium-sized enterprises, borrowers from the fiat economy. So basically, you put up your cryptocurrency and it gets lent out. And it's very similar to peer-to-peer lending, how you just lend with cash, but you can lend with your crypto here. So starting from 10%. Let's see. There's not really much information about where even this company is located. I always try to do a bit of background. I see these Ivo Grigorov, Valentin Dimitrov, and Lyubomir Blagov. Yeah, I mean, where is this country? I think they're in Bulgaria, but if you go down to the contact information, there isn't. There's just a email. Sorry, let me show you that. Yeah, just an email button. So, I'm always a little bit wary when there's a lack of information about places where they expect you to stash the money. You can find them on LinkedIn. I would definitely be doing more research before investing into something like that. Assets Capital relationship director joins the Blend network. So Yana Blend has poached away Assets' relationship director Chris Mason away from Stuart Law. He was over there for 3 years. And this guy has been with Barclays for 21 years, so he has a lot of experience. Jan is a smart guy. He's building a very strong team. So what else? Peer-to-peer lenders regaining ground on Main Street banks. There's a study from the British Business Bank, the Triple B, saying that gross flows of lending to businesses via marketplace lending, which is peer-to-peer lending, has grown from £4 billion in 2020 up to £4.1 billion in 2021. So £100 million more has gone through peer-to-peer lending. And in contrast, bank lending fell 45% annually during 2021. I think you're going to see more of that. This is just this is the beginning of the migration away from the traditional high street bank being used as a place to get money for your business, because what's going to happen is it's going to go, peer-to-peer lending, and then later on we're going to see more cryptocurrency companies getting into this lending side through probably some kind of decentralized finance. And the beautiful thing, if I had to take a guess, the good thing about this Credifi, if I could say something good, I don't know anything about the company, but hopefully all this peer-to-peer lending using crypto will be done through smart contracts. So you wouldn't have anywhere near the administration and the paperwork that goes into doing traditional lending. So that I believe is going to be the future of where lending will go, and you'll see the banks traditionally get pushed further and further to the side. I mean, that's a pretty big drop, 45%. 45% drop in high street bank lending. That's a big drop. I mean, I don't know what it's like for 2022, but it's a big drop. Okay, so next Tuesday, like I said, we're going to be crypto focused. We'll do a little bit of stock stuff too, probably. But if you watched the stream a couple of weeks ago, you would have seen that I did a session on staking. And I was showing you how I was staking my Solana cryptocurrency coins and getting paid an interest rate. And I used some of the people on this list. I think I did Leapfrog of 7.08%, 7.06%, Marinade Finance. But I managed to get in touch with this company here, Cogent Crypto, is third on the list. They're offering about 6.69% APR at the moment. And Ben Hawkins, who is in Boulder, Colorado, is a very smart guy who works in the finance industry. He's not somebody that comes from necessarily a crypto background too. I had a chat with him. I was really interested in that because usually when you associate people that run things to do with cryptocurrency, you assume that they've been, cryptocurrency fans for a long time. And Ben's relatively new, but he's really, really smart. And he's got an associate friend of his who works for a very large cryptocurrency trading company, FTX, who kind of introduced him to Solana, which is one of the cryptocurrencies that has very, very low payment fees, and you can stake. It's a proof of stake coin. But on Tuesday, Ben from Cogent is going to be on the stream. We're going to be talking about crypto and his staking company and what the hell staking is. How you can earn interest. This is one of the questions I said to him. How do people understand how you get paid an APR percentage from just locking up your cryptocurrency? And you can. And it's a really easy way to get an APR. So yeah, 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday next week. Ben will be here from Cogent. Him and I are going to talk crypto, and we're going to demystify this Solana coin, what it does, and how you can get paid this APR of 6.8%. By the way, the really good thing about this staking stuff is these companies have zero control over the coins. You always own the coins. They're always in your wallet. It's just done through a piece of smart contract code, which you can cancel at any time. You get paid about every 2 days, your APR percent. You get paid in the coin that you're staking, so you get Solana coins back. But yeah, Ben will be here next Tuesday. So put it on your calendar if you're interested in cryptocurrency. You want to learn how to get some APR, how to get some yield in these terrible low interest times. I think you can get 0.75% now at Ford Bank, if that sounds of interest to you. But I wanna just say too that the situation over in the Ukraine and what's going on in Russia is a very, very, very important world event for us to watch, right? I'm just trying to see how long I'm going. 47 minutes. Okay, we might get done before an hour today. Yeah, let me know if you agree with this or not, but things happen. This whole conflict has been brewing for, I think, probably longer than we knew. There were reports back in 2021 about this happening, but it's a very important event because the people who are living in Russia right now are seeing some real backlash from not only their government, but also governments around the world on their currency, on their banking system, on their travel restrictions. And, not everybody's a fan of cryptocurrency. I understand that. But you can imagine if you were a Ukrainian, you probably don't want to be holding your native currency right now because you don't know what's going on with it. There was lines at the ATM. People couldn't get their money out. The banks were running out of cash. In Russia, assets are getting frozen. I mean, the government is preventing people from transferring their money overseas because they don't want the ruble to collapse, and it's already collapsing. These types of events, happen. They're not common, but they can happen in any country, I believe, at any time. So this is why I'm always saying I think it's good to have a hedge. Yes, cryptocurrency, of course, is volatile. But having some assets in Bitcoin on a hardware wallet that you could pick up if you needed to at a pinch, grab your little drive, I don't have a drive, something it look like something like this, and leave if you had to, take your assets with you, you'd have something. Yes, it's going to be volatile. Yes, it's going to go up and down. But fiat currency is volatile. We've seen the ruble losing, 30-40% of its value in a matter of just weeks. So fiat currency can be volatile. We think because we live in first world nations like the UK, the US, that this couldn't happen. I think it could happen. I think inflation is a massive problem. So It's just another reminder of why I hold, Bitcoin. I think it's an important thing to remember. It's not for everybody, but it never hurts to have a hedge, something that is easily movable and cannot be taken from you. So that's what I think anyway. I know there's going to be various opinions out there on that, but I'm a believer, and I'm going to stick to that. So I'll run through see if you have any interesting comments, and then we are going to get out of here. Do I sound like I'm really congested? I feel like just my voice has gone 3 octaves deeper. Try it. Let me drink. Darren Lefko, can you ask Property Partner why their index is continually declining? Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't need to ask them. I can tell you. Demand and supply. The demand for Property Partner shares is low, and people are selling. When people want to sell, they tend to panic sell, and they sell for less than what they should, and then the index price declines. Kind of like the stock market. I'll let you know when. Let me check my email and see when the Shojin. Let me see if I can find his email. March 10th. March 10th. So Shojin will be here next Thursday, March 10th. Shojin 10th. March 10th. Jatin on Dahaya. He has a very difficult name. I'm sure I butchered it, but he'll be here next Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Come join. If you have questions, email them. help@financialthing.com. Hi, Dave Dawson. How are you? Hi, Annabelle in Hola a Todos in Spain. Dave got paid back from Connective Lending. Congratulations. Good. Robert Pates is here in Greece. Yeah, that's a good point. I was going to say that. Mike says, you don't appear to be protected even if they are FCA regulated. That's very true. Yeah. Carful. Hope your head is better, Lawrence. Thank you. We have a spammer in here. Kevin, you got to go, man. Bye-bye. Anyone considered buying gold in the current economic crisis? Yes, look, right here. And this was a gold company, but I did actually buy some GLD too, which is the SPY gold index. I think it's a good hedge at the moment, but it has been underperforming. I had owned this stock for about 6 months. In another account, I was down 20%. We look at the Barrick gold charts over the last year. Check this out. I think I bought, of course, up here at the worst possible time. I watched it go down all the way to 17. Gold company stocks can be quite volatile. But to get exposure to gold without having to buy the actual physical asset, which is, it's probably the best way. I don't actually, maybe you can't buy it. See if I can pull it up here. This is what I like. There's a hedge at the moment. The Spider gold shares. See if it had. See, it hadn't really done much. It was 174 US all the way down to 160 something. A little bit choppy. And then you can see how it's started to take off as people move into risk-off assets like gold. Yeah, but I think buying the actual physical gold is probably it's good to have some kind of a hedge at the moment. I've never been a big gold fan long term as an investment. Oh, by the way, if you want to watch a really interesting debate, check out that Richard Hart versus Peter Schiff debate that was on YouTube. You can go to Richard Hart's channel right here. So if you just search Richard Hart, Peter Schiff, they talk about gold and crypto. Peter Schiff hates crypto. This guy right here. But he even said, I only have about 20% of my portfolio in gold. He's a big gold fan, but he actually holds about 80% equities and 20% gold. He said, that's a pretty, look at that frozen screenshot with Richard sticking his tongue out. But yeah, he says it's a hedge against equity, reversals, and gold should never really be considered an investment. So it's just about putting your money into sectors that you could see being more of a safe haven. But again, that's very risky because if you're trying to move your money around and hit the correct sectors at the right time, like switching from tech to oil, to commodities, to energy, to gold, precious metals, you can just get the timing wrong very easily, as I have done myself many, many times. But I don't think gold is a bad place at the moment. Not financial advice, of course. Let's see what else you got. And then we'll get out of here. I've thought about dabbling in oil at the moment. You got to be careful with oil too, because usually what happens is when everybody's piling into an asset, that's probably the time you want to start thinking about exiting. It happened with crypto, the gaming in this crypto gaming a month ago when everybody was piling in. The price was just going crazy, and there was warnings. And I didn't listen to it because I had some crypto gaming coins and I didn't exit. And then, of course, some of the values went down about 80%, 90%. Thing about oil right now is all it takes is, OPEC to make a decision, or like we saw in the US and other countries have said they're going to release 60 million emergency barrels of oil. The price of oil stocks went down that day. So, there is risk involved. But I probably see oil going to $120 a barrel soon. How much higher it can go, I don't know. We might have seen the run up, but I still have quite a bit in oil at the moment. Would you agree that in the current state of financial markets, LoanPad is the safest peer-to-peer lending company? I think they are in the safe tier. Yeah, absolutely. They've proven to be safe haven during the vid times and what's going on, so I'm really happy. Do you have any recommendations where to buy gold? I don't have a link. You can go to, I think in the UK, bullionbypost.co.uk, I hear is a reputable place to buy gold. So I go with the GLD Spider Gold Index because I just really don't want to hold actual physical gold myself, but I know many people that have bought through this company here, so as far as I understand, they are reputable. Bullion by Post. What can I get stocks in Brent? Crude oil. I mean, you could just go to a couple of things. What you can do is you can join my Patreon for a very small amount of money a month, and I post all of my stock allocations. They're all of my oil stocks that I own. But a little bit of research, I mean, there's tons of stocks out there. What I will say is I would be careful with anything with Russian exposure like Exxon, Shell, BP. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. But there's, I mean, some of the ones that I've invested in, LPI, OXY, some shipping companies that ship oil too. But you just have to do your research. There's so many stocks out there that are crude oil based. I tried tracking bots for crypto. No, I have not. House credit is an interesting case as the underlying SPV companies aren't in administration, so the administrators have very limited control. They have no control over the planning. It will be default criteria on the line. Okay, that's very interesting. Yeah, it sounds like a mess. The whole thing just seems like a disaster. I hate to think that there was some mention of a guy, Mike Hall, inside of that document, maybe being the person directing some of what's going on in Frazier not. Yeah, Property Moose was not peer-to-peer. That was an equity play where you'd buy shares in properties. I just kind of group them all together because, it's not peer-to-peer, but it's similar. It's like Lend Invest. It's not strictly peer-to-peer, but I group them all into that same kind of category sector. I looked at Creatify, but I couldn't understand whether peer-to-peer was or where to sign up. I think it's on there. Let's see. It is right here if you click on platform, Mike. There you go. It says you can create a new account. So you just got to click on platform. Yes, come back. Come back on Tuesday for a crypto staking live stream with Cogent. Next Thursday with Shojin Property Partners. We have 2 guests next week. Common denominator administration equals likely fraud. Hard to say. You just did a 50-pound punt on Wealthify. What is Wealthify? Personal investment plans. Is this like a robo investing? Yeah. I don't know. Every robo investor I've tried has just underperformed my own picks, or even just my index tracker. So let me know how it goes, Mike. I'm always interested. Did they have a sign-up bonus? Jeff says, last week on etoro, I took a position in US dollar. It's now up 5.2%, validates my view that the dollar is a safe index position in troubled times. Yeah, unless they go to war, then all bets are off, right? And also, if you believe that the US dollar is a safe index position, then probably an index tracker investing in US stocks would be considered not a bad place to stick your cash. So what else we got? Richard McDougall says, I would like to see a leading BS, a bullshit, a building society like Nationwide, currently cash-rich, partner with peer-to-peer like crowd property. This would increase investor safety and lead to more properties getting built. I will say that Planned, or P-Land, I think is partnering with Nationwide. Don't quote me on that, but they do have some kind of a partnership with them. But yeah, it's a good point. You know, a lot of these old school building societies, they don't want to partner with things like alternative investment companies. I don't want to get into political talk. Yeah, it's pretty sad. So, you know, speaking of Russia, I have a good friend that lives in Moscow, and I called him and asked him what his thoughts were on the situation, and he had a very different view to what I did about. And I don't know if he'd been brainwashed. It kind of sounded like there was a lot of propaganda going on and the things he was saying. It's atrocity, you know. Somebody gets in the war. It's just bad for everybody involved. The only people that win are the people that make weapons. They're the only winners. Can you buy a loaf of bread with crypto? Yeah, I tell you what, if the poo hits the fan, you probably will be able to buy a loaf of bread with crypto. You can certainly exchange it for other things, you know, like gold. Thank you, Aki Chap. I look and sound terrible. I appreciate that. I've heard worse. Yeah, so if I was fleeing from a country, I think I'd rather have my crypto on a software wallet than a hardware wallet. Border guards can't always be trusted. Yeah, that's true. There is some of that. Maybe both would be the ultimate diversification. Problem is you could get your software account. Well, when you say software wallet, if you're talking about holding on a platform, your platform, I guess, could freeze your account. I think that might be happening. But software wallet, you could hold it on something like Trust Wallet or Exodus. There is an ETF too. You were speaking about where to get exposure to things like oil. There was an ETF that I know has been mentioned. Let me pull it up. Where is it? PDBC. It's an Invesco ETF which has futures of commodities and energy. Let's see, PDBCF, ETF. This one. I did take a look at this yesterday because somebody, a friend, asked me if I thought this was a good place to put cash. So aluminium, zinc, Brent crude, gasoline, copper, WTI crude, wheat, gold, soybeans, natural gas, corn, sugar, and silver. But what was not good, like the 1 year performance was good, 48%. Which, yeah, I mean, 1 year, that's great. If we look back 5 years, we got 7.72%. 10 year, Look at this, in the negative, 0.86. I think, hold on. No, yes. And then since inception, 0.72%. So it's very cyclical. Year to date, fund 7.96% in the green. But if you were simply just investing in oil stocks over the last year to date, you'd be probably 15, 16%. I think I'm around 12% year to date in the green on oil and energy stocks. So, you know, these numbers don't always look so good when you're looking at long-term fund results. These ETFs here, the fees you got, it's the fee, 0.59%. So not bad on the fees, but it's an easy way if you want to get exposure and you don't want to try stock picking. But also, Invesco is not necessarily the best fund company. Robo-investor, £50 cash back after 12 months. No obvious downside. Enjoying your moto vlogs, Lawrence. Thank you, Aki Chat. They are very, very time consuming to make. So for anybody that has not seen the moto vlogs, do me a favor, go to the YouTube channel, Financial Thing, and you'll see down here. I'll zoom in a little bit. Right here, there is a couple of moto vlogs. If you go to the playlists, I think you'll see right here, moto vlog. You can check out their financial discussions while riding a motorcycle. So something new I've been playing around with, and they do, like I said, I've enjoyed making them. They are time consuming to make, so if that's something you're interested in, if you like watching a guy zip around on a motorcycle talking about financial stuff, check it out. I think we're going to wrap this up. Is there anything else? I have Brent oil trade or ETF on trading 212. Cool. Okay, so next Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. UK time, Cogent Crypto. We'll be talking about staking and other just cryptocurrency in general. And then Thursday next week, Shojin Property Partners Live. Do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. Please share this information with people that you know. Share the channel. I am trying to grow this channel. And yes, that's it. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Stay away from those common colds. Love everybody. And thank you for being here. See you next time, okay? Take care. Bye.